Alrighty, so this video falls into two categories. One being sew and flip part 2, what I do with these extra cutoffs. And the second being, this is my video for my contribution to the Festive Thread collaboration that's going on October with 2025, just in case you see this later on. So in the description box, I'll have a link to the first video that goes with this, but I will also have the link to all of my collaborating friends for this series. There will be a special phrase that you'll hear me say, and I will pop it up on the screen as just, a hint or a tip. If you're entering the giveaway for the Festive Thread collaboration, you will need to know that phrase. So, video 1 showed me taking my sew and flip cutoffs, separating them into some colors. In that video, I was working with all blues. You'll see here my little one's done with the 2.5-inch squares and the small cutoffs, and you'll see here the medium, and then this is possible with your 2.5-inch ruler, 3.5-inch ruler, 4.5-inch ruler, and it creates the different sizes. So what I did was I separated some more colors, but I was thinking seasonal. So it's October, and this is the Festive Thread. We have October, November, December. So for me, October, I thought of Halloween. I absolutely love purple. It is my favorite color. And so that means I brought those out. I brought some blacks. So not only do I have my cutoffs, I also have some 2.5-inch scrappy squares. I have some oranges, which actually has a bag started. So I was thinking Halloween, oranges, purples, blacks. I'm going to go ahead and make up some of these little guys. Today I am only focusing on this size because we're going to have different finished projects, but they all start the same way. So October, purple, black, orange. Then I was thinking November. November to me is autumn, fall. So keeping those oranges, but removing those Halloween. Just go with those more oranges. Bringing in some yellows. And bringing in browns, right? Those nature colors. Browns, tans, dark creams. Even this plaid is super fun. So that's what I was thinking of for November colorways. And then we have December, Christmas. So I brought in my reds. Well, I pulled out some reds. Pulled out some greens. And I did try to find some, novelty prints that had a Christmassy theme to them. I did have a mixture one here with some poinsettia cutoffs, which I thought was really pretty. Then, just for kicks, because you never know, 4th of July, Memorial, Labor, Veterans Day, I think of red, white, and blue. So if we move the Christmas to the back, and we still had our reds, then we could bring in our blues. And so not only will you get ideas in this video for October, November, December as a part of the Festive Thread, you will also see one or two worked up in red, white, and blue for some of those other holidays. And I'm trying to think, Valentine's, right? Valentine's could be the pinks. I just didn't bring those out at the moment. Easter could be more of the pastellies, which is sitting right beside me. I have a whole stack of pastels. So you'll get the idea. But again, first up, just like in video 1, we made these little wonky stars. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause. I am going to work up some of these in Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and possibly 4th of July-ish. I will be right back, and then we will move on to what the actual project is going to be with these stars as the starting points, because I'm going to, in my head, I have multiple different ideas. So here I have all my 6-inch wonky star blocks using sew and flip corner cutoffs. I just went fun and scrappy, a little bit controlled. I wanted, you know, some controlled scrappiness in there. So I have a red, white, and blue. That is the bonus one that we will talk about later. So for this, I got 3 Christmas themed. I have a red, green, and on like a creamy. And again, all this came out of my scrap bin. So the whites, I got lucky. I was able to get all of the background pieces. There's a scrappy green and a scrappy red. Then we have autumn-ish. I did a brown. And I did a yellows and oranges. Possibly, you know, in the end, I could come back and do an orange and a yellow alone. Depends on which project I end up with after this video. And then for Halloween, I have the orange. And I have the purple, which have I told you how much I love purple? It is my favorite color. So from here, I'm going to dig through my scrap bins and find backgrounds. And my scrap bins are organized by color. They're all in baskets of the same size. They all fit on 2 shelves. So for example, here's my green scrap bin. So for the Christmas green, I will go ahead and dig through here, see if I find something that's really springy, even though the colors are there. That's too small. So I'm going to need at least a 6-inch square. All of them will get a paired backing, just to start with. This is just the first step of moving on after having the blocks done. And nothing in here is catching my eye. You see anything? Scream at me through the camera. Let's see, nothing is dark. That is very interesting. I might have to actually go to my yardage bin. Kind of like that one. So I'm just going to go ahead and pair up all of these blocks with a backing of some kind. Oh, look, he shouldn't even be in a scrap bin. He's quite large. And as you notice, all of my bins are exactly the same. They just each carry a different color. I do want this to kind of read fall, but I kind of like that it's funky and modern and geometric-y. That could work if that size is not big enough. I might have to do some piecing. So for example, these are going to be Jolly Bar cuts, which are 5x10s. I'll just go ahead and piece 2 of them together to create that back side. What's up next? Let's go back to Christmas. So I don't really have Christmassy fabrics in my red bin. I might. Ooh, what is that? Oh, okay. So it's not the right size, but again, piece two together to create a big enough backing. That'll be cute for the red one. And this is a multi. I wonder if I actually have Christmas fabric somewhere. This is my novelties. And look at that. We have a cream with green. We have a pink. I don't think that's going to be big enough. Nope. Well, that's a bummer. Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. Where do I have Christmas fabric at? I have to come back to that one. Let's see. So Halloween, we have the oranges and the purples. The purple bin, it's amazing how many different shades of purple there are. It's kind of crazy. I'm gonna go with that one. Super cute. So you get the deal. Get your 6-inch blocks made up. Go ahead and find a piece of scraps for the back side. 6.5 inch, 6-inch Wonky star blocks that we have made with all the instructions in video 1. This is video 2, which is just what you can do once you've done these blocks. Some fun, different projects. Also, again, this is a part of the Festive Thread collaboration that's running October 1st through October 11th. There's 11 of us. Well, no, sorry. There's 10 of us, each having a video a day. Launch time is 6 p.m. And by now, you've already seen a couple people. So we've already had our October 1st live. If you are following along, we greatly appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to all of the channels that are participating so that you can enter the giveaway. And yeah, let's have some fun. So I will be right back after I get all these backs pieced, and then we will start talking about the different projects that I have in mind for these, because it's going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be quilts. It's not going to be wall hangings. It's not going to be, you know, placemats or table runners. All of those can be done with 6-inch blocks, of course. But I wanted to stick with holidays, with themes. And so I actually, in the back of my mind, have a couple different fun projects. They're a little, you know, outside the box on these. So on this first one, I am going to do a small decorative pillow. I've taken my block, I've gotten a piece of scrap batting, and I have my backing waiting. On this front piece with the batting, I am going to go ahead and stitch. I'm only on a straight stitch, so I'm probably just going to echo around. If you have a machine with decorative stitches, you could totally use that at this point. Or, you know, go in here and stitch in the ditch. Either way, leave yourself an opening so that you can turn back out and stuff. So here you'll see I top stitched around that wonky star. I am going to go ahead and lay all 3 pieces together. Do a nice trimming with my 6.5-inch ruler. And then I'm going to put them face to face that front star with that fun backing. I'm going to stitch most of the way around. I will go ahead and mark it so I can leave myself about an inch, inch and a quarter. Start here, go all the way around, clip my corners, and then hand turn it inside out. So I came back with my big old handful of fluffy stuff. This is not necessary. You can even stuff with scraps. It will never get washed. It will, nobody will ever go in there and say, what did you stuff this with? This was just on hand. Now, this is also very lightweight. Scraps would be heavier. And also, you can put in like a little baggie of those Beanie Baby beads. That could give it some weight down towards the bottom. So my goal with this is to have like a cute little decorative pillow that can sit in one of those 3-tiered trays for decoration. It can sit even, you know, let's say on your buffet with your pumpkins and candles, and it could just add a fun little homemade touch, you know, to show, one, that you're a sewist and a quilter, right? Because we're using quilt blocks. 2, if you're a scrap user, a scrap lover, a scrap hoarder, which I am. And 3, it's just cute. And you don't have to only make one. You can make multiple of them. I am using this little tool to try to stuff up into those corners. I'm now going to come in with needle and thread, whip stitch that closed. Okay, so now I'm moving on to the Halloween ones. I started off in the same fashion. I have my block, my piece of batting. On this one, I'm going to go ahead and layer all 3 with the pretty sides, one to the back and one to the front. And I'm going to go ahead and find some ribbon that coordinates. On this other one, I took my top star and my batting and I stitched in the ditch around the star. And now I'm going to layer it with its backing. Then I need to also find a ribbon for this. Here we go. I found black. On this one, what I'm going to do, since I have that stitch line visible on the batting, I now can lay this down and use that as my guideline. I'm going to come about a 1/2 inch out. Using my little 1/2 inch ruler and just roughly mark a star. Now, if you have a nice wide foot on your machine, you probably wouldn't have to mark. You can just line that foot up with that first stitch line. But we want to have the star shape. We just want it to be larger than our original pieced star. Both of these Halloween ones are going to be turned into some type of ornament in a way, but differently. So what I need to do is confirm, yeah, there is an up, right? Those hats are facing up. So I know that this is my top. I'm going to come in here, cut just a, touch of ribbon. Let's see, roughly 5.5, 6 inches. You can do it where, just fold it. You're good. I don't even suggest that you don't even need to melt it because it's going to all be hidden. We're going to be mindful that that is the point. Make sure our point line's right back up on that cross of that ribbon. We are good to go. If you need to, go ahead and put a small pin in that. And how perfect. The first pack of pins I picked was black cats. I'm going to go to the sewing machine. I'm going to sew on these outer pink lines, being mindful that I need to leave a spot open for me to turn later. So coming back in here. So I didn't stitch actually on that pink line, even though I am glad it was a 1/2 inch away. What I was able to do was line my foot up. If I would have followed the pink, I would have gone off the edges and I would have had open tips. I needed my tips to be as closed as possible. Either way, I was still able to leave a small opening. We're going to cross our fingers. We can slide through there. And originally I had pinned that ribbon way down here. That was a mistake. And I realized that as I was coming down this corner, I wasn't going to hit the ribbon. So I did just lift this over, pull the ribbon up to that location. And you can see it popping through right there. I'm now going to go with my scissors and trim on that pink line that I sewed 1/4 inch away from. So here's the orange Halloween star. I turned it inside out. I stuffed it as best as I could. And now I have a cute little Halloween ornament. What I'm even thinking is adding some ribbon. If you don't have a Halloween tree, some do, some don't. It could even be a cute, put like a clip on it, and it could be even for a child's backpack. I know my youngest likes to have all those things dangling from their backpack. Later on, after I go through some more of these, multiple of these could even go on like a bunting style, or depending on how you decorate for Halloween or what you build or what you create, this could fit just right in somehow. So we had the pillow / pincushion, and now we have the poofy ornament. Up next is going to be how I conquer the purple one. Again, I did not top stitch this one yet. I layered all 3 pieces. Now I'm going to go through and top stitch. So you'll see here that I stitched it once in the ditch. I am going to come back with the width of my foot and stitch again. And this time I'm going to go ahead and add in that ribbon. I'm going to say that it does point up because of that bottle and because of that bat. When I go to do that stitch, I am going to insert this ribbon as far down as I can. And then I'm going to roughly be stitching right there, which will catch it. So I'm now going to come in here with my pinking shears and trim just outside that second stitch line. I actually really like this black background fabric, and that is why I chose to do that second stitch line, because I wanted it to be seen. So this is going to be another ornament type, or another piece that can be used in a bunting later on. It's something that can hang from a wreath. It's something that can hang from a tree or a gift. Even though this one is Halloween, the whole fun of this video is that all of these projects work for any of these holidays. I'm just showing them, you know, already done up. But for example, I'm going to have to bear with me real quick. I gotta have to get in here carefully. I'm gonna go ahead and split down the middle. So we don't catch that ribbon. And so even though it might be kind of odd to say, oh, a Halloween gift. No, no, no. This is just a sample, right? This one's just worked up in Halloween fabrics. All of these can be done in any season or holiday. The fun part of this Festive Thread collaboration is that it's running through October, and it's featuring projects that you could do for the next 3 holidays. But I really wanted to create them in all the holidays. So there you go. Another ornament done differently than that first one. There is no stuffing. There is no turning. This one was much quicker and easier. Super cute. I actually really like the idea of like a Halloween bunting. Put in this type of star and then maybe make a ghost, and then put in another star and make a pumpkin or a bat, anything. But for right now, this is what I have. So up next, we are going to work on, I'm actually going to go ahead and bring in the fun 4th of July one next, because it goes with what we just did with those 2 stars. I'm going to go ahead and make that little sandwich. I'm also going to mimic what I did with these last 2 Halloween ones. But in this sandwich, when I go ahead and stitch in the ditch, I'm going to leave an opening. I like the flower going up. I'm going to leave an opening down here. So I'm going to do my stitch in the ditch. Then I'm going to do that same 1/4 inch again. Then I'm still going to come back with my pinking shears, still leaving an opening down here, and I will show you why in just a second. So for the red, white, and blue one, I went ahead and clipped it with those pinking shears, and we left the hole down here. I'm going to go between the back and the foam, where we left that hole, with a dab of your favorite glue in there. You're going to insert a stick, if I can get it past the batting, or have a smaller stick. Maybe mine is too thick. We'll see. I would take the stick all the way here to the top where it wants to naturally stop. Now we have a scrappy, wonky star. Child-friendly sparkler, right? No fire in this one. I think it's just fun. And I know it's not Halloween or Thanksgiving or Christmas, but this was my special little surprise at the end. To use those red, white, and blues and do the 4th of July themed. But it could also work with the other seasons. This can now go into a flower arrangement. This can now go into a table setting. If it was Christmas, right, it could insert right there. If it was Thanksgiving, it could go next to, you know, insert into the flower pot, then have your cute little pillow. It's very universal. We took the 1 6-inch block. We treated it fairly the same, right? Some of them we stitched with the batting and left an opening to the back. That was on this pillow, and that was on this ornament. Some of them, we stitched all 3 layers, closed it up, and turned it into a flat ornament. But we took this same technique, and instead of putting the ribbon, we left the hole for the stack, and we were able to create that. I know I don't have any finished Christmas ones here, but the Christmas ones are not going to be any different. They're going to be exactly the same. I will end up making a Christmas pillow. I will end up making a Christmas ornament, either or, probably both. And I will end up making a Christmas sparkler. Also, any of these flat ones can be used into that bunting style that I had mentioned, just with multiple of them in any of the holidays. I know a couple years back there was a acorn that was put out for free. So imagine having an acorn ornament and then having the star ornament and then having a pumpkin ornament. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching and joining me as I fumble and mumble through these videos. I know I'm a little different, and I know it's very hard to get what's in my head out onto the table. So this was part 2 of the sew and flip. And then this was a part of the Festive Thread video. Now, if you've made it this far and you are here to join along, please go back and pay attention to something that I said. You're probably wondering why I said it multiple times throughout the video. Because to enter, you're going to need to know that secret phrase, secret color. And you'll notice that I did say something multiple times. Kind of, it's just kind of silly if you think about it. You know, why would that be in her video? Anyways, thanks so much for joining me. A like, a comment, a subscribe is always appreciated. A share, help me get out there. I do appreciate each and every one of you that watches my videos. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to leave a message down below. I do check them as often as possible. Some of the settings have changed. I used to get emails with each comment, and that is no longer happening. I didn't choose to set that where differently, but I guess that might have just been a universal YouTube setting that changed. So, alrighty, have a great day.